you want your cereal bar?
No.
No, thank you.
Take your seat, boys.
I don't want one.
Hey.
I know you brought so.
Oh, look at this guy.
Dad, look at all them.
There he is, Max. Hello.
Dad. Dad.
Yeah.
How's the crab?
Oh, yeah. What should we call him?
Bonjour.
No.
Dad, bonjour.
I like the seals.
He smiled.
No. And can we stay for
Oh,
the
Dad,
seals for a couple more?
Little one's the cutest, isn't
I
it?
like
Dad, can we go now?
I don't want to go.
Can I have that a sec, Max? Just one sec.
Hold on.
You try.
I didn't know.
You're right.
No, I didn't know.
So let's show the ride.
Yeah. Look at it. Dad.
Yeah. See him, Max. Go round and get one from the side. Come round here.
Okay. Seals. Deer. Seagulls. Deer. More deer.
What are they? Why did it say black and blue?
It's in there, down there.
What are
Let's just call it a rat cat. I think Mum might be right.
Oh, look, they're all. If you look through,
Baby ones up there.
can you see through the square?
look.
Yeah, I told you. Yeah, I told you they were all there.
They're all in
Really?
there.
Stop that now and lift the camera up. Go on out there.
Oh, there's some fighting going on.
Who's gonna win the fight?
Don't look at me like that.
Look, look.
Very big.
Is this? It's a big fishy. Hey.
That bit is so scary.
I can look over there.
This one from Biden, so the no one I can see their eyelash.
You've got long eyelashes like
They
you.
run very, very fast. They can't fly, you know, even though they've got wings. They can't fly because they're too heavy. Can't fly.
Look at that for the view as well.
Really?
Because it was not, wasn't
I don't know. I can see the big cloud.
Look at these, look at this one.
Oh, splash, 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 splash.
Oh, look at that one.
Did it on purpose.
What's this thing?
So we have recently decided that today we're back into breeding mode, even though we're not doing that. To be honest, Ray will tell him off more than other female will. She's quite happy to just bark in his face and say, do you know what, Casper, this is my training session, and I'm going to keep up with it because I don't care what you think. So back to those important medical behaviours. We also need to get a good particularly for instances like this. So the breathing of obviously can cause
describes, he is found in barns and disused buildings, and he does like to pretend he's in Harry Potter sometimes. Now obviously their numbers are reducing in the wild for many reasons. We are taking away their homes. We make all these barns and disused buildings a lot more solid and we're turning them into houses. On top of that, we're taking away their food source. Now the natural diet of a barn owl like this will be small rodents and voles and things. So we're getting really good at our pest control. Now through that, we're poisoning them and we're taking away the rodents' food source. Therefore, unfortunately, we're taking away the food source for barn owls like Sherman here. Now Sherman's actually 14 years old. The natural life expectancy of a barn owl is actually only about 4 years. Obviously they can live into their 20s in captivity. So we do show to have a couple more fantastic years out of him yet. Now you can tell the difference between a male and a female barn owl mainly by their size. The females are that little bit bigger and more robust than the males are. The females will also have some speckling on their chest. Now that's pretty much the same for most birds of prey. The females are that little bit bigger than the males for most. Now, storm hares are fantastic hunting. Most people think that barn owls are actually nocturnal. They're not quite. They're what's known as crepuscular. Now what this means is they're actually awake during dusk and dawn, kind of at low light levels, which is why they have these lovely black eyes. Now whilst we're on the eyes, you'll notice he actually turns his head to be able to look. Barn owls' eyes are actually fused in their heads, so they can't actually turn their eyes at all. So they do fully turn their heads. So most people think that the owls can turn their heads 360 degrees. They can't. What they do is they can turn it 270. Now the reason they can do this is they have 14 vertebrae in their necks. Us humans only have 7, so we can't turn our heads quite so well. Now if you look at Storm's face, it almost looks like it's a frying pan, a nice heart-shaped flat. And this is literally just like a satellite dish. They use it to catch all the sound in it and then channel it back towards their ears. Now barn owls have what's known as asymmetrical ears, one slightly higher than the other. Now this allows them to have directional hearing. Barn owls can hear their food moving along grassland from over 15 feet away. So that's quite a long way. There's no way I could ever hear this. Now unfortunately that does mean that they don't have that good of vision. Obviously being around in the low light conditions, they're quite bad at seeing. So you'll notice that I'm either putting the food directly in his mouth or putting it in my glove. Now by putting it in my glove, I'm almost getting him to do his natural behaviours. In the wild, they're just above their food and then they'll pounce down straight onto their food. So you'll notice when he was landing on my feet, on my hand, he had his feet wide open so that he could literally catch it. Now, as I say, their numbers are reducing in the wild. They generally only have 3 eggs. Now, they have this in what's known as a staggered clutch. Now, what this means is that these delayed one after the other, and therefore one of their chicks will be a lot bigger than the rest. And therefore, if they're having a shortage of prey items in that time, they unfortunately can either just feed the largest chick, or unfortunately with barn owls, one of the biggest things is the biggest chick will actually eat the youngest. Now for the next animals out, I'm going to pass you back over to Amy.
Well, thank you, Anne. So these 2 birds are going to be flying completely different to everything that you've seen so far, because they're going to be continuously flying above your heads, hopefully. And then when Tom calls them in, hopefully they're going to come and land on him. This is our pair of military macaws. These 2 are brothers. They're called Sergeant and Major. And as you can see, they are sticking pretty close together. And that is because they're a very sociable species. So out there in the wild, they've been flying around in pairs or coming together into quite large flocks. And they'd be flying with their wings almost touching. Now if they do come above your head, you might hear them chattering to each other, and this is how they communicate. So they're talking to each other basically. They're telling each other whether they want to go on a little bit further, whether it's time to come in, when they're turning, which way they need to come in from. Everything like that is what they're going to try and do. Now the military macaw is one of 350 different species of parrots that you can find out there in the world. Now all of the parrots are found in the southern hemisphere. They like it nice and warm, and they range on quite a few continents. So our military macaws, along with things like the Amazon parrots, are found down in South America. We've also got the cockatoos, so things like our galahs, they're found in Australia, and the very unusual parrot species, so the kira, the kakapo, they're found down in New Zealand. Now our macaws have quite a varied diet. They eat a lot of fruit and veg. They will eat seeds, nuts and flowers that they'll find too. And they will also eat lots of browse, so lots of leafy material. So we try and give them as much of a varied diet as we possibly can too. They'll have had a whole bowl of pulses this morning, then they'll get fruit and veg. And for that lovely flight, they will get lots of nuts, lots of fussing, and some browse too. Now the big prize for them is a whole walnut. Now they are able to crack into that walnut just using their beak. We can't crack into a walnut, most of us with our hands, but these guys have very powerful beaks and very high bite pressure. So they have done a lovely job to conclude our bird display here this afternoon. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing Icarus, Storm, and of course Sergeant and Major. We'll shortly drop the rope barriers, reopen the penguins and the flamingos so you can head inside and have a look at them again. And then at 12:25, we'll have the feeding and training of our Californian sea lions.
What's that?
Cute emu.
Tired?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Honestly, like, probably worth it if we had a warm one.
Oh. Scared me. Yeah.
This daisy is.
Oh.
Look, look how big that daisies are. Look how big this one is. What? Why? What?
There's the sentry.
It's like monkey. Do your hands. Do that thing. Monkey's hands on.
What you turned into a beta.
I can't see.
It's not an apple.
You see the teeth?
It's for the fenster. Come do it for the fenster. It's a balloon, I think. I'm going. Okay.
Mine. My
Hey.
that one young.
Oh,
Mine. Oh, look at it.
So them what? Them
Dad.
ones
Dad, he's my favourite. That yellow one.
Is it?
He matches our kit.
Go and read what his name is at the end. Oh, I don't know. He looks like yeah, that's it. Cockburg. Cockburg. What's it called, do you?
What?
Called